red, violets are blue. Hey, it makes you wonder how they think these things up, doesn't it? Sugar is sweet, and so are you. And it's from...
One who worships you from afar.
Even money, it's one who worships you from behind the bar.
No, Len. We can cancel Jack out on 2 counts. First, it would be altering the habits of a lifetime to send me a valentine. And second, he would be far too embarrassed to go into a shop and ask for one.
Maybe it was your Joni that got it for him. He's still in Derby, isn't he?
Hey, yes. The postmark's a bit blurred, isn't it?
Totally blurred, I'd say.
Have you got anybody worshipping you from Timbuktu?
Well, not that springs to mind immediately. But of course, my circle of friends encompasses the globe.
She puts things well, doesn't she? I've never heard anybody command English words like Mrs...
Mr. Crestwell?
Yes, well, I mean, I've never heard him speak That fella from the brewery that you shot off with to Mallorca. And we all thought that you'd left Mr...
I know what you all thought. And you all know how wrong you turned out to be, don't you?
It's your sink pipe that's blocked, isn't it?
Yes, please, Len, if you do it first.
Hey, you're Mr. Forsyth Jones.
Of course.
Forsyth who?
Oh, well, it's somebody I knew some years ago. Public school, of course, you know, independent means. Sported rather dashing cravats. I'm afraid, in my own little way, I rather turned his poor head.
Oh, well, that's it then, isn't it, Mr. Forsyth Saga?
Forsyth Jones?
Oh, well, listen, anybody that sends you an unsigned card, always follow up to see that it's been received. Mark my words, there'll be a follow-up.
What do you mean?
That's what I call timing.
Hello, Anne Walker. Same as yesterday and the day before. 1 dozen meat and potato, 2 dozen steak and kidney, 1 dozen cheese and onion, and 1 very good morning to you.
Mr. Tatlock! It's all right, Mr. Tatlock. It's only me, Bernard. Butler. What are you doing?
No, not what am I doing, Squire. What are you doing?
Hey?
Because, they can always take you in as a voluntary patient these days, you know.
Oh, you don't have to start that compass mentis thing with me, Mr. Barlow. No, it's Mr. Tatlock, you see. He's an hippie. He's dropped out of society.
Yeah, but then again, in your case, they might just take you in whether you like it or not. You'll have a lovely little ride in a nice little yellow van.
See me wet, see me dry.
Look, Bernard, Uncle Albert's been dropping out of society since before hippies were bald-headed babies. You see, apart from being the nicest chap in the world, he's also the meanest, grumpiest, surliest, mingiest little moaner I've ever had the pleasure of meeting.
Hey, I've marmalised men into mincemeat for less than that.
Oh? Hey, what's all this malarkey about you dropping out of society? Who you got up there, then? Yoko Ono?
That's done it. Apart from me dropping out, you're disinherited.
You're going to drop out of that window if you're not careful.
Oh, heck.
Hear my song, Violetta.
Shut up, Sandra.
Shut up yourself. Still rejecting society, Mr. Tatlock?
Only your society of greed and selfishness.
Mow, mow, mousy tongue, mow,
I told
mow,
you to shut up,
mousy-
Sandra.
Look, 1 day without a drink and 1 day without dinner, and he'll drop right back into society. Come on, Bernard. Yeah,
Ken?
Hi. It's Bill, isn't it? Bill Gregory. Oh my God, it must be, what, 7 years at least?
Yeah, quite a few drinks to catch up on, eh? Jack and Annie Walker still mind hosting?
Yeah?
Maybe see you later then, eh?
Right. That's Bill Gregory, an old friend of Elsie Tanner's.
Well, what's he doing round here?
Could be on his way back home.
Where's you live?
Glasgow.
Sugar is sweet, and so are you.
I'm on saccharine myself.
Well, of course, saccharine is sweet, and so are you. Might be all right for a valentine for a member of the Weight Watchers Club. But as a traditionalist, I prefer...
I bet that's him, Mr. Cube.
Hello, Rose return. Oh. Hello, Jack, love. How are you?
Whoa up there, me darling. Whoa up. Mr. Tatlock, I'd like a bit of advice about the world of greed and selfishness. Oh, what? There you are. Facilitations here.
Felicitations.
Oh, is it now? You know, me old dad used to drum it into me. Tommy, me boy, he used to say, if ever you get the chance, sit at the feet of a man of learning.
Yeah, well, what do you want?
Oh, to meet a man who's had enough guts to turn his back on this rat race of ours. A man who was seen through all the grabbing and the grafting in pursuit of worldly possessions. Tell me, is it true what they say about possessions?
Say what about them?
Oh, that they don't bring man one true grain of happiness, and that he'd be better off without them.
Now look, my place is chock full of stuff I don't need. Just cluttering the place up, that's its only purpose.
Which is why my humble services and this empty cart of mine have been placed at your disposal, free of charge.
Yeah, well look, I don't want you or your flaming empty cart.
No, of course not. Sure, it's only out of admiration for you, as a philosopher and oracle of the affluent society, that I'm willing to take away all the degrading and corrupting possessions in your house for nothing.
Oh!
Ah, you miserable old skinflint.
He's still at it, the silly old so-and-so. You're Val still in Glasgow?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Gum, she'll be talking Scotch by the time she gets back.
Valerie's mother hasn't been keeping too well, Ina. That's why she's gone to Glasgow.
At the risk of overtaxing your memory, I was with you when Val told us why she was going to Glasgow. Or to be more precise, you were with me.
Anyway...
Anyway, what?
He has just rejected the whole of mankind.
He's dropped out.
Dropped out my foot. He's playing silly beggars with his constitution. And when you do that at his age, you're more liable to drop dead than drop out.
I mean, it's not that I've not been going on at him myself. I have. I've plagued him for days.
Well, if your Cyril's got a hankering to hang up his helmet after all these years, why not go ahead with it? Yes. He's been bobbying a long time, you know, Betty.
I know, but you see, he can retire in 5 years' time with 2/3 pay.
Well, let's see, you get half-time pay. He gets half pay now if he retires at 55. Half pay at 55, a spare-time job. Can't be bad, Betty.
Yes, but there's not all that many jobs going for ex-policemen and, well, these security jobs aren't very plentiful.
There's none at all going for ex-plumbers, love. And they don't get half pension either.
Hello, Mr. Hard. I haven't seen much of you recently.
Good morning, Mrs. Walker. It's a lock of hair, Mrs. Walker. In fact, it's a lock of green hair. And as a matter of fact, it's a lock of your hair. It's been treated with that particular hair lacquer that's been the root of so much trouble. And talking about roots, Mrs. Walker, I would advise that in future you would do mention to your hairdresser that in fact your hair has been bleached. Good morning, Mrs. Walker.
Lock of hair could have been anybody's. Morning, ladies.
Good morning. I hear you've been giving comfort to the oldest hippie in the world.
Ah, sure, it's a great big money-grabbing world, Mrs. Sharples. And if old Tatlock wants to opt out, sure, what's wrong with that?
I see. Nowadays we render everything unto Caesar, do we?
Who?
Oh, never mind, it's a long story.
Oh.
What Mrs. Sharples means is that men have always scrambled for gold, only to discover that gold cannot buy those things which cannot be bought. Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God.
If you see a man in woe, walk right up and say hello. Say hello, and how are you? And how's the world using you?
Well, your heart's in the right place, but can never quite fathom out where your mind's wandering to.
Well, it's what you were just saying, Ina, about Julius Caesar's brother. I remember you found him once unconscious at the foot of his staircase.
Mr. Tatlock?
No, Julius Caesar's brother.
He can't cook, you know. I don't think Mr. Tatlock could cook boiling water.
I wonder if I might venture a suggestion. It seems to me that perhaps Mr. Tatlock could be persuaded to embrace life again if he were approached by his peers.
I can't call any peers to mind, Ina. His mother was a Nield, I could swear to that. Oh, and didn't his auntie marry one of the Bardsleys out of Rifle Street?
No, I don't mean that. I mean that he would be more inclined to listen to you or to Mrs. Sharples rather than to someone, well, much younger. Otherwise, of course, I would have already gone myself.
Now, where are you scooting off to?
Mr. Tatlock's. I would rather attempt and fail than fail to attempt.
Good morning.
Morning. Very formal this morning, aren't we?
What do you think of that?
Oh, very pretty.
How do you think Mrs. Walker would look if the whole of her crowning glory was that colour? As it would be if we'd used that particular cheap hair lacquer on her hair.
You must be joking.
No, I'm not joking. I've just showed it to Mrs. Walker. It scared the pants off her. Never mind, no harm done. As long as we've learned our lesson.
Oh, we have, sir. Honest, sir. Would you like a cup of tea?
Thank you very much.
Do sit down. We've got the whole house to ourselves.
Auntie Elsie, I'm home.
Or at least we had.
When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
I'll do you a tater pie and apple dumplings for your dinner.
Now look, if you want a bandy Bible with me, Ina Sharples, try this on for size. And let your women keep silent. Corinthians.
Well, all I want to establish is why you're acting like a big daft Jessie.
Yes, well, what I'm doing is my own concern.
Aye, it's your Mardy Street getting the better of you again, isn't it?
It's got no to do with me, Mardy Spirit at all. It's to do with society it is today. Sick and selfish. And you can't see it because your mind's blinded with boggling up bingo cards every night.
Mrs. Pickering won the snowball on Tuesday.
Oh, aye, how much?
£42.
They played brass bands when we come marching home in 1918. They promised us homes fit for heroes to live in. Every man an acre and a cow. Well, my home's just as it were. My cow never came, they pinched me allotment, and there isn't a brass band between here and Bellevue worth bending your ear to. No, it's all self today. Everything's for number one.
Well, what do you think me and Minnie Colwell are doing here, then?
You're wasting your breath and you're wasting my time.
Good morning, Bernard. Not lunching at home today?
No, I don't think I'm wanted.
Oh, dear. What can I get you?
I'm just making my mind up, thanks.
I see.
Mind you, I'm the type that doesn't like to talk about all the acts of Christian charity that I've performed. I'm what you might call a silent Samaritan.
I'm not giving you a bottle of rum.
I was only to get old Tatlock out of the house.
No.
When I think of all the poor sinners that I've plucked off street corners and rescued from them dens of vice. Hey, how about a half? Maybe a half a bottle would do the trick just as dandy.
Well, any luck? He's serious, you know. I said he was all along. Hey, do you think Mr. Turpin could do something for us?
Perhaps a quarter of a bottle could do something.
I think that's a very good suggestion, Bernard. And Mr. Turpin probably knows a lot about those kind of things.
Right, well, I'll go see if I can find him then.
Well, it's as good a rule as any. If at first you don't succeed, call the police.
What was the old song? A policeman's lot is not a happy one.
Oh, I don't know, Mrs. Walker. I mean, when it comes to dealing with people, Cyril's in his element. It's the paperwork first and the people second that grinds him down.
Oh, hello, Bill. What can I get you? What do you like?
Scotch.
Scotch.
Something up?
All right, double.
Mrs. Tanner been in yet?
Water.
No.
If I'm out of the bar when she does come in, let me know.
Well, I should have known in a flash when I last saw you, July 1962, because the night you left was the night that Val and I got engaged. My goodness, a lot of water's passed into the nappies since then. Mind if I ask you something?
CPO.
3 of the most dreaded words in Weatherfield.
Chief Petty Officer.
Compulsory purchase order.
You mind if I ask you something?
No.
You ever get the feeling you're being talked about?
And, as we're all well aware, there is one subject that Mrs. Tanner never approaches half-heartedly.
Lord Nelson. She was going out with him, was she?
Oh, it seemed they were all set to get married. Well, that's what I thought.
Something happened.
His wife turned up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Photo finish.
Oh, never come between the Navy and its tipple, Mrs. Walker.
Well, go on, you were first.
Well, just cigarettes, please. 20 tipped.
Why, were you Royal Navy?
Yes, minesweepers in a bit of convoy duty towards the end.
I think I ought to effect introductions. Mr. Gregory, Mr. Howard.
Bill Gregory.
Alan Howard. Well, I'm sorry I can't stick around, but I'm in a bit of a hurry some other time.
Yeah, why not?
I'll get it, Mrs. Walker. It's no business of mine, I know. But I can't help wondering what brings Mr. Gregory back to Coronation Street.
Oh, bit of time to spare and he had to see a few old faces.
Well, he met Kenneth Barlow, I saw, and of course Len's still around, Mr. Tatlock. Mrs. Sharples is still going strong. Jack's in Derby for a day or two.
Oh, yeah.
And Elsie, of course.
Oh, how is she?
Oh, much the same. Of course, you'll have heard she got married.
It's for you, Mrs. Walker, on the phone. Oh, and I'm just off to my dinner.
Excuse me.
What I want to know is, why has he come back?
You no more want to know than I do. He's come back to see Elsie Tanner. Why he's come back, we can answer. What he's come back to see her for is the real question.
Perhaps his love has haunted him down the years, finally drawing him back
We
to the
saw
sea.
that down at the Luxie about a month ago.
Oh, well, perhaps he's divorced his wife or something like that.
There is nothing else like that. Mind you, I shouldn't think that Elsie Tanner's exactly overjoyed that he's come back. Not while she's doing her dance of the Seven Veils for that Howard fella.
Now, look here, laddie. Your concern for Mr. Tatlock does you credit, but I can't act on concern alone.
Well, perhaps you could just talk to him, love. I mean, I've always maintained you've got away with you when you're in your stride.
Well, what do you want me to talk to him about? It's his house. Provided he conducts his affairs within the framework of the law, he can enjoy as much privacy as he wants.
Not quite sure whether you mean you can't do anything or you won't do anything.
I thought I'd just explained that.
Oh, I shall have to give you the benefit of the doubt and assume that you can't do anything. Still, you can't doesn't mean we can't.
You once told me that you joined the force to help people, not to arrest them.
Oh, he'll come out. He'll have to come out to get food.
Of course, when I say I'm on your side, I don't really know what I'm talking about. It's just a feeling.
Ah, well, that's all you need. That's what it starts with, the feeling. You see, love, all the clevers in the world, they think they can cure all its ills by having a bit of a change here and a bit of a change there, bringing in new laws every now and then. They think with a bit of juggling and a bit of conjuring and a heck of a lot of praying that things will sort itself out and all come right in the end. But it doesn't work that wrong. And they've been at it for over 100 years. Look, take Charles Dickens. He knew. Charles Dickens knew. Mind, he didn't suggest out concrete, but he always had a feeling that there was something wrong.
What?
Society, old blooming society, that's what's wrong. They only stop messing about and get on with it because it wants changing from top to bottom, from A to Z.
How do you mean?
Well, the precise dealings haven't been worked out yet, but the basics are still there. It's society, you see.
It wants changing.
Yeah, you see? That's what it starts with. A bit of feeling, you're all right there, see? How old would you say I were? Well, go on, have a guess.
74?
Oh. And how many generations would you think there were between you and me? About a couple? Well, they were not like that when I was a lad. There were only people. Young people and old people. Not like it is today. Like teenagers today, they don't even live at home. Well, it's all right being on your own when you're young, but when your generation are old age pensioners, it's not so good then.
Well, when all your friends are the same age, you got lots in common.
No, it's the teenagers that have got things in common, love, and it's all based on the most important thing of all. They've got lives and futures that they haven't lived. That's what they've got in common, hopes and ambitions. Nobody to say they won't achieve them. Now, my generation, we've got a past in common, but all pasts are different. And generally speaking, you know, when you come to think about it, we got nothing in common at all.
Tell you what, best way for me to bridge the generation gap is to keep bringing the grub round. You seem to be enjoying that.
I've had worse.
Hello then. Alan in?
No.
Oh, well, when you see him, will you do me a favour? Will you tell him 8 o'clock prompt tonight? Otherwise, his call on the cob will have dropped off the cob. 8 o'clock, please.
8 o'clock, no later.
Thanks.
You're seeing a lot of him lately.
Yeah. Nights, mostly.
Sure. Dinner for two touch, candlelight, corn on the cob.
Do you mind?
Mind? Not in the least, darling.
Why are you so bothered about me seeing
I'm
him so
not
much?
bothered, I just made an observation.
OK. 8 o'clock, please.
Sorry, darling. Good afternoon, Leonard. Sorry for popping in like this, unexpected like, but I thought you might like to look at a list of cut price stuff that I've got in my hands. It's your kind of material, I think.
What's selling?
No, swapping. You know, there's a fair amount of scrap metal in that yard of yours.
You mean you want to give me this lot if I give you mine?
Aye.
Come in!
Hello, Lynn.
For crying out loud, Bill Gregory!
Bit belated, I'm afraid, but congratulations. The marriage. You and Elsie, I heard about it at the Rovers.
The marriage? Me and Elsie?
Yeah, Annie Walker let it drop so that Elsie got married.
Not to me, mate.
Not you? Who then?
Hey, this is going to take about a fortnight.
Oh, well, in that case, I won't wait. Be good to pair to you.
Elsie and me married. Fancy you getting that into your head. Look, I'll tell you all about it over a pint.
Yeah.
I can't get an answer at all, Bernard.
Well, what do you think, then?
All right. Look, all you've got to do is ignore him. I've told you the one thing you can't take is being ignored.
No, it's Mr. Tatlock that's ignoring us.
That's very true.
When you're ready.
Right, I'm just coming now.
We haven't changed around here, you know.
Are you all right, Mrs. Walker?
Oh, yes, thank you, dear. Remember my mentioning of Mr. Forsyth Jones? He obviously didn't send it.
How did you know that?
Well, I did.
You phoned him. It's that Valentine's card. I'll never send you another.
I just want to get to the bottom of it.
A lad scotch and a pint, please.
There may be circumstances now, Mr. Turpin. We haven't heard a sound from Mr. Tatlock's house for quite a while.
All right, Mrs. Corwell, all right. If he's not out by tomorrow, I'll do something about it.
Has that friend of yours been to see Elsie Tanner yet? Bill Gregory.
Oh, I haven't the faintest idea, no.
What's he come for? I don't mean the waffle, I mean the real reason.
I don't know. And you don't ask questions like that at one remove. You ask him direct. He's sitting over there.
Oh, he said that, did he? Ah. Well, that's your average ordinary policeman for you. Just pawns, that's what they are. Desperately trying to keep society on an even keel.
His words were, if you're not out of it by tomorrow, he'd do something about it.
Oh, well, I'm not going to sit here and let him do something. No, I'll fight. I'll barricade. I'll cob bricks at him. I'll cob anything I can lay my hands on. I've got a few plans I can fall back on, you know. I've been expecting something like this, and it's not the first time I've fought to the last, you know.
There's only one thing that'll bring me back to this street. Just one thing, Mrs. Sharples.
I wouldn't have thought anybody was in two minds about that.
Good. Because this time I'm not leaving without her.